Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another brand new video on my YouTube channel. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And in today's video, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about optimization and how software and hardware have to work so much together to give you the experience that your devices give you. And especially I want to talk about how iPhones manage to keep up with Android devices even though they have almost half of the specs that Android devices have. And I'm going to tell you why this is all in optimization and why Android devices are kind of switching the tables and all that stuff. So let's get started. Okay, so for this example I'm going to use two devices, the iPhone X or the iPhone X and the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Now I do understand that the Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus are already released and everything, but however these two are the best example because the iPhone X has 3 GB of RAM versus the Note 8 which has 6 GB of RAM. So as you can see, the Note 8 has double the RAM that the iPhone X has. However, if you guys know who Phone Buff is, he's basically a YouTuber that does speed tests and drop tests and all that stuff, and he did a speed test of the iPhone X and the Galaxy Note 8, and as you can see the Note 8 is faster, but that's because of the RAM management and how they can switch back to the apps after using it, and that's how it caught on, and that's how it beat the iPhone X by like 5-6 seconds, right? But what you need to consider here is that that's half the RAM, so it's obvious that anything with higher the RAM is gonna store more apps in there. But how does the 3 GB of RAM only have like 5 seconds of a delay compared to the 6 GB of RAM? Well, this is where optimization comes in. So if you didn't know, Apple makes iPhones. You probably knew that. But they also make iOS, which means they make the hardware and the software. Now this gives them a huge advantage because since they have their own software and since the device lineup they have is also pretty less, they can go ahead and individually optimize each device and make sure that the software works perfectly for each and every device. However, Android is made by Google. So Google releases Android as a universal software so that any phone company can go ahead and get the license and start installing Android on their device. As a difference, they might just do a quick skin on top, but on the underlining, it's all the universal Android. And the thing about the Galaxy Note 8 is, even though it has all that awesome hardware in it, the software is still that universal Android. So that means that Google never went ahead and individually optimized the software like Apple did. So that means that even though Apple has less hardware, they were able to make sure that software takes full advantage of all that hardware and make sure it milks out the performance as much as it can. However, even if Samsung puts in 10 GB of RAM, Android is only going to use however the code was written. So the software is not going to be able to understand each and every important hardware component that the Note 8 has. So it's not going to take the full capacity of what the hardware supports. That is why even though Android devices have a lot more hardware, their performance or their actual outcome in the real life use is not the same as what it says on paper. That's why a lot of tech YouTubers, including myself, don't rely on benchmarks and don't rely on paper to really get an idea of the performance of the phone, because most of the time it can be really bad on paper but it can be really good in real life usage, kind of like how the iPhone is. Now let me give you an example like that on Windows. So Windows is also a universal software that Microsoft makes. Now Dell, HP, anyone can have it. I have almost the top spec XPS here. If I put it down to sleep and if I open the lid, it'll take a good 5-6 seconds to actually turn on the screen. This is because the hardware of the laptop is not optimized at all with the software. But if you take a Surface Book which has 8 gigs of RAM and an i5, which is like half of the specs that the XPS has, it'll be much faster. My friend has a Surface Book 1, and when he opens the lid, almost instantly the screen turns on, kind of like how it does on a MacBook. And this is because of optimization. And this is why Google Pixel proved us to be the king of Android last year, because even though a lot of devices like the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, LG G6, and a lot of other Android devices, even though they had dual cameras, Google Pixel did the same thing, and if not better, with a single camera. And why is this? Not because the camera is a lot better, well, it is better, but mostly because of Google's image processing. And that's why when you would take the ported camera APK of the Google Pixel and put it on a Samsung Galaxy, the pictures would look so much better versus to what you would get from the stock Samsung app. And this is all in software. A lot of people have the understanding that the higher the megapixel, the better the camera quality, but no. The most important part in a phone camera is software and image processing that the company has done. And that's why the iPhone and the Google Pixel were able to get that really nice portrait mode, which looked really good. Now I do know that Samsung also has this mode, but if you compare what the Samsung camera can take and what the Samsung phone with the Google camera can take, you'll notice that the Google output is much better. And this is all in software, this is all written in code, and this is what basically controls the device. It doesn't matter if you have a 100GB RAM phone with the Snapdragon 1000, it doesn't matter, whatever you have, if you have a bad software with bad optimization, it's not gonna run well. And that is the end of it. If you have a good software with, however, less performance, that will still be better than having something with bad optimization. And this is why Android is really coming into its senses. This is why with OnePlus 5 I believe was the first Android device to actually get better in optimization and actually beat iPhone in the speed test. And then Samsung also realized this, and now they're really getting better with their optimization. The S9 Plus is also faster than the iPhone X. So, and as you can see, Android is actually understanding and they're building their way up. And iPhone, they can really just quickly beat Android if they add like a quick GB or 2GB on top of that already good optimization. That's the thing, guys. Optimization plays a big role, software plays a big role, hardware plays a really good amount. If you don't know, Android Go is coming, and Android Go is basically a lighter version of Android to run on weak or budget phones. This is really smart of Google because, let's say, so I right here, let me see. I have a phone here. It's a Samsung Galaxy Grand. It has like 1GB of RAM, and it runs pretty bad on TouchWiz. And I was able to install I installed Resurrection ROM on this, and it became a lot faster because there's less skins running on top of it, making it easier for RAM management and all that stuff. And what Android Go is going to do is it's going to be lighter apps, so smaller size, so it gives you more storage, and they are more optimized. Keyword is optimization. So they're more optimized to run on devices with lower specs. So it will demand for less resources even if you have a less powerful phone. That's why some apps come with a light version, and that is usually, I believe Facebook had a light version where it would require less data, less resources and stuff like that. And that's what Android Go is going to do. But at the end of the day, I just want to say up till last year, iPhone was just killing it with their optimization. That's how they were selling fast. People were buying it because they always had the idea that Androids would eventually get slow and iPhones are always fast from day 1 to day 100, right? And that is true. But since last year, I've noticed that Android optimization is getting higher, especially once again with the OnePlus 5 coming in with their great optimization. And now Samsung's also coming with great optimization. And with Android's great optimization, I believe eventually Android will become the great optimized software that iOS once was. And also with Android P being announced, I believe that it has less new features that we're gonna get in Android P compared to what Android O had. But I feel like a lot of security and optimization features are going to be added, and they are going to start improving what they couldn't improve back then. They're going to pause on features and they're going to fix all that optimization that they forgot to do before, and they're just going to get back to where iOS is and maybe even pass it. And one more thing is that I want to let you guys know that Android P will most likely not come for your phone. I'm going to make a video about this because only 2% of Android O phones are running in the Android market right now, and it's just crazy because companies like Samsung, for example, take so long to send updates to their devices because they have so many variants, and they also have to install TouchWiz on top of each and every OS, and they have to code that, so it takes us too long. That's why if you want new updates for your phone, just get a Google phone. Alright, that's the end of it. And my final point is just get, if you can, just get a product where the software and the hardware are both made by the same company. So for a laptop, you would want to get a MacBook, which is made by Apple software and Apple hardware. Or if you want to get a Windows, you would get a Microsoft Surface Book or something, which is also the same software and hardware company. And if you want an Android phone, you would get the Google Pixel. You guys get the point what I'm trying to say. At least until we see that third-party companies are getting really better with optimization, that's the best thing that I would do. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Right below this video, it's a red box that says subscribe. Just go ahead and do it. Thank you guys so much once again. This is Tech Alpha signing out with today's video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.